Welcome to Selfish Confidence, a place where we can connect and be real about how hard it is to be your damn self. I'm your host, Jess, and my goal is to help you build confidence and belief in yourself to live any life path you want, even if it's unconventional. It's time to break down those barriers and connect with women who've also felt on the outside by their life choices. We're encouraging you to grab the mic and speak your truth. I know it can be scary, but we're in this together. We got this. Let's dive in. Hello, and I'm so excited about this week's episode of the Selfish Confidence Podcast because I got someone real special here. Do I say that every week? I might, but this is someone who is very special and someone who I love so dearly, and I'm so excited to chat with you, Meg. Welcome.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, Jess, I'm so excited. I listen to your podcast religiously, and this is just so cool to just be hanging out with you like this. I love it.
I think I love too, because I'm so excited to have you on because we are real life friends, not just like podcast friends. And it's just amazing to be able to have you and know what I want to talk about with you and like know your life so personally that I'm excited for the listeners to be able to know that side of you too. So yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
Your Dr. Meg. In my phone, your name is Dr. Meggie. Like, I'm not even lying.
I love that.
So Dr. Meg, can you tell us about you and your story and where it all got started?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's such a giant question. I don't even know where to start. But yeah, so my name is Megan. I just recently moved to Arkansas. I'm a high school English teacher at a public charter school. I absolutely love the new job. I love the kids. I love the area. It is just unreal. Super exciting. I was born and raised in Minnesota. I have 3 degrees in English. So bachelor's, master's, and PhD in English. So you can kind of tell I love books, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what else. This is so terrible.
I know, and it's such a big question. And normally I give like a little insight before when we were just chatting, but we were chatting about regular stuff, not about the podcast. So normally I'm like, well, you decide where you want to start or what you want to share. But I think what we're going to lead into with it being the next question is your personal story and the big changes that you've recently made into your life and that move. Mm-hmm. So you can kind of start if you want with where you are currently. Again, now you moved to Arkansas, what you're doing there and why you made such a big move in this unconventional life that you're living. And the U-Haul, like you packed up the U-Haul, just headed down, like it ain't no thing.
Yes. Oh my gosh, the big giant U-Haul. Yeah. So I guess I want to take you back like a couple of years. So I finished my PhD in 2019, and my husband, well, he wasn't my husband then, but he was my fiance then. He had gotten a job. So oh my gosh, this is like crazy. Okay. So I want to take you back a couple of years ago. So I finished my PhD in 2019, and my husband actually finished a year earlier than I did. So he finished in 2018. And so he got a job and our funding ran out at the PhD program. So we packed up our stuff from Pennsylvania and moved to Iowa. And so we were both professors there for a year. I was finishing my dissertation. I was really into health and wellness and doing all of the HIIT workouts. So a very, certain aspect of health and wellness, right? So I was really into that. I was finishing my dissertation and I was teaching full time and I was trying to plan a wedding at a distance. So it was a lot. It was so much. I can't even tell you. I am so grateful for that season of life, but I would never, ever want to repeat that season of life. It was a lot. And so it was a lot of, focusing on the dissertation and stuff like that. And so I defended my dissertation in March of 2019. I graduated in May of 2019. And then my husband and I got married in June, and then we went on this epic road trip honeymoon. He got a different job because we were very unhappy at the university that we were at. So he got a new job, and then we moved. It was a lot of major life events in a very short amount of time. And I kind of lost touch with myself during that time. And I really, really struggled when we got to the new place because it was not like the new school, the new town, because it was not, again, what we thought it was going to be. And so we stayed there for about 3.5 years. And I really, like I said, lost myself. I felt so disconnected from myself. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Was the PhD a mistake? Like, what is going on? I feel so unhappy, so unfulfilled, and all this stuff. And so I was like, well, I don't want life to feel like this, to be this way. So I started to work on myself. And I was like, okay, got to get to the bottom of this. And so I discovered Empower Her podcast. Like, it led to an entire community of women. It was absolutely amazing. And I started to realize there was so much like untapped potential and whatnot, like inside myself. And I'm like, oh, like I really just, I feel good. Like, I found myself again. This feels amazing. And so I, called my shot on a bunch of different dreams. I was like, I want to write books. I want to teach other women how to write books. Like, let's go. I want to start a publishing company and all these things. And here we are, like 3.5 years later, completely different person than I used to be. I've written a book. I've taught, a handful of women how to write books. And I do have my publishing house off the ground. We've published one book. We have a bunch of books left to publish this year and whatnot. So yeah, so that's kind of like the backstory. And then now we're in Arkansas, right? So it was amazing to have all of these like side goals, these side hustles, and be working on that, because that was really my main source of fulfillment. But I still hated my job. I still hated what I was doing on the daily. Like, my first thought, I'm not even kidding you, Jess, like I would wake up every day and I'd be like, like that was the first thing out of my mouth. I was like, I don't want to go to campus. I don't want to do whatever. And so I started cutting corners in things wherever I could when it came to my job. Like, I would still show up and do what I was supposed to do, but I was cutting corners, and that's no way to live. And so I was like, I can't do this, right? Like, all my side hustle stuff where I used to get all the fulfillment wasn't cutting it anymore. I was like, I need to be doing something on the daily that is also fulfilling, or is not making me want to wake up every day and go, So I started applying to dozens of jobs. I think, I don't have the exact number, but it was over 200 jobs I applied to, just threw them in, right? Because you just never know. I made a resume. It was awesome.
Yeah,
really
just add that in there. It was awesome. It was super cute.
It was awesome. It was super cute because I'd never done a resume before, because I'm used to the academia where you have like a 10-page like CV, like a 10-page resume, right? And just different world. So it was awesome to just like, stretch myself, make a resume. And it was really cute. Like, it was really cute. I'm not even gonna lie. And so just like started throwing it in everywhere. Interviews kept coming in. I kept taking them, even if I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to move to that city, but I took them because I was like, I want the practice. I need to build up my confidence, right? And so one of my friends, Christine, she's also a podcaster. She was like, for so long, she's like, you've had jobs like you didn't want, or just like it just was what it was. She's like, you need to build up your confidence and just be able to tell these other jobs no, instead of continuing to accept crap. So I just started to apply like a mad woman, and the job for the school that I'm at right now in Arkansas came up. And this is horrible, but I don't actually remember applying for the job. I don't remember applying for it. And I got an email, and it was like, oh yeah, we were super impressed with your resume, and we want to interview you. And I was like, cool. I don't remember applying, but like, let's go. And I had the initial interview. I was like, oh, I feel like that went really horribly. They called me the next day and were like, we would like you to come to our school. Like, you need to come to the school. We need you to do a full day of teaching so you can see how great we are, so we can see if it's a good fit for you, and like all this stuff. Like, it was just so the energy behind it was just so good. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do this. And so like a week later, right before Thanksgiving of 2022, I, drove down there and did a whole day of teaching. And I have not been that fulfilled in the classroom for a very long time. I was like, it was an entire day of standing, like a whole day of standing, a whole day of talking, a whole day of like interacting with seventh graders and just, different age kids, like all day. And I was like, I left the school and I got into the car and I looked at Roger, because he came with me. He's my husband. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I am not even tired right now. Like, that was so energizing, so just amazing. And so we drove back. Sorry, step back. So after the long day, I was in the car with Roger. I was like, oh, this is amazing. And then the woman who was the head of the hiring committee, who I work with now, she was like, come to my house, ask me all the questions, like, let's talk or whatever. So I go to her house, we're like talking. I'm like, not grilling her, but I'm like, this seems so good. Like, where are the skeletons? Like, what's going on? Like, I have lived enough life to have been, honestly, I know this is so harsh, but like screwed over by so many different situations that I'm like, it always seems good on the outside. but it never is when I get there. Right. And so I'm like, I've got a lot of trauma here. Like, where's the bad? Like, you've got to show me the worst like thing. And she told me like the, you know, quote unquote, the worst like stuff. And I'm like, you're serious? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, this seems like super legit. And I just feel good. And it just, there was this gut feeling, this whole body visceral reaction that I was like, I like this. This is really good. So we already like, she's like, how serious are you on a scale of 1 to 10? I was like, 11. Like, this sounds really good. Like, I really liked it, all this stuff. And so she put in like a counter offer salary, like got the ball rolling. I think like a day later, she had called me and offered me the job, and I took it because I was like, this just feels way too good. I deserve this, right? So we packed up all our stuff in a U-Haul. So I got the job right before Thanksgiving. So I had the job interview on Monday. I think the offer came in on like Wednesday, and you know, Thursday was American Thanksgiving. And yeah, and then I had the job. And so we packed up all our stuff on the 30th of December, and here we are.
Meg, like it was so fast. I'm glad you specified American Thanksgiving, because I was sitting here and I'm like, I hope she says it's American Thanksgiving, because it makes it even faster, because for us it's in October. You were literally the end of November and you were moving the end of December, because I remember that process and it was just like insane. Like,
it was
so
insane.
fast.
It was totally insane. And then our Christmas plans got all messed up too. And so it was just like, it was a whole thing.
It's a crazy season. And I'm glad you dove into it and that you shared all of that, because I really wanted the world to see that side of this new adventure that you went on, and it being so out of character for you. Like going from university professor who, like, I would see Meg like a professional doing her thing at the university as a professor, and like you changing your whole life to become, you know, essentially a middle school teacher doing something different in this private school in Arkansas. You moved your whole freaking life and just trusted your gut, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I love that you said it was out of character, because it totally is. Like, I am that person. So I'm like Enneagram 1, very type A person, where it's like I need, well, fun fact, like no, the Enneagram 6 is actually the second highest number when I take the test. It's 1, it's I'm definitely a 1, but 6 is the second highest, because, you know, and just a bunch of different things growing up, like I love security. Like I really love security. And I would even go as far as to say like I need it, right? Sometimes. And so it was crazy to do what we did, because we also moved without my husband having a new job here in Arkansas. Like he's still working for my old university through May, right? And so we moved without him having like employment or anything like that. But that just goes to show you how aligned this was, and how I needed to take a step out of my comfort zone to make this happen, because I can't even tell you, like it still feels so good every day. Like obviously every day is not perfect, but it's the right decision. You know, I feel like what I do matters, and it was worth it to step out of my comfort zone, to take a little bit of uncertainty as far as my husband's employment to make it happen.
I think there was more than a little bit of uncertainty there, Meg. Like this was like a whole new city,
yeah, that's
a whole
true.
new school. Lacking the employment piece, and there was never a waver in your faith on it being the right thing. Like you're just like, hey, they're about to call me, I'm gonna get this job. And then you did, and you got it, and you just went with it. And I know people listening right now will be inspired by something like that, and they might be a little scared by something like that, but trust your gut, because you know you've been doing it now for a month, being in this school. Right decision? Feeling good?
Oh yeah. 100%. 100% the right decision. It was crazy. This is kind of like a tangent, but one of the things that really helped me going into it, because I know that the interview process can be super nerve-wracking. It can be so nerve-wracking. It can be just overwhelming, and you just kind of feel, I don't know, you can kind of sometimes feel dumb, where you're like, you know, you have all your answers planned. You're like, I know how to answer this question, but it doesn't come out right. Or like you pause or whatever, right? It can be awkward. And really rob you of the confidence. But one of the things that really helped me with all of the jobs that I interviewed for, but especially the job that I have now as the high school, middle school teacher, is detaching from the outcome. I went into every single interview where I was like, this is to boost my confidence. I'm literally gaining experience. I'm qualifying myself. We are doing this just for me. We are not paying attention to the outcome. And so when I went in for the full day of teaching, I was like, we're going to have fun. I've been teaching for 10 years. We're going to have fun. It is what it is. Whatever. Like, we're just going to do this for, for me. Right. And there was one class that went less than perfect because of a bunch of tech issues, but I thought super fast on my feet. And then like at the end of the day, they were like, oh my gosh, like that was brilliant how you compensated. Like that was so cool and all this stuff. And I'm just like, because I didn't put that pressure onto myself for it to go perfect, which as an Enneagram 1 is like huge. Right. But I just hope people listening in can connect to that idea of like, even if you want something really, really badly or want out of something really, really badly, don't attach any sort of expectation to the outcome. Just do it for you, do it to build confidence. And it feels better and more freeing when you go through it.
I love that. And the day that you had that, I'm picturing like you going in and doing this one day. Like, did they tell you what you were going to teach, or they're just like, here you go? And were there people like judging you in the back of the room? Like,
oh yeah. So I love this question. Okay.
So awkward.
Yeah. So, okay. So it's awesome. So when they called to say, hey, we want you to come to campus to teach for us, she was like, okay, there's 4 classes. She's like, you'll have AP language and composition to teach. So it's like 11th, 12th graders. I think it was a mix. I don't really know, but AP language and composition, a class of 7th grade literature, a class of, oh my gosh, what was it? Oh, AP literature. And then there was, creative writing. And so, yeah. And so, she's like, for the language and, composition class or whatever, the first class of the day, I don't actually think that class was AP, but, for that class, she's like, just pick a piece of nonfiction. She's like, bring in a piece of nonfiction and do whatever you would do with it. For the 7th graders, pick a piece of fiction and do a grammar lesson. For the, AP literature, bring in a short piece of fiction. For the creative writing class, whatever you want to do. And it was it was very open because she also had said, and I knew it at the time too, because this is not my first rodeo, right? So she was like, obviously like this is the test, right? She's like, we want to see what you can do. And what made this a test was not picking certain like books or texts or stuff for the kids to do. The true test of it was being able to fill meaningfully 90 minutes, because we teach 4 classes a day. Each are like 90 minutes long. So I had never, I think the longest class in college I had ever taught was 3 hours long, but I had done that twice. And that was for winter term classes. So they were really short, very intense or whatever. But it's been a while since I had done that. So like that was the true test of it. And then people were in and out of the rooms all day long. So I was in the woman who was the head of the search committee or whatever, my contact person, her name's Kate. She I had her class first. And so she's like, yeah, just come to the school at 7:30. Like my room is this room number, whatever, like, so she observed me, right? But then when I was with the 7th graders, the AP Lit students and the creative writing students, people from the search committee popping in and out of the rooms all day, door open, door closed, in, out all day, but I was like so zoned into what I was doing that I was like, it doesn't matter. Because again, I detached from the outcome. So.
Oh yeah, Meg, mic drop. I love that. And we could even just like wrap up the podcast right there, but that was only a piece of what I wanted to talk about.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
No, don't even be sorry, because I love it. I love it so much. I also wanted to chat with you today about the moment of truth with that vision for your side hustles, your business that you have, and how you started to take action into that area of your life too, in a very different time. Like, because we're going even like backwards. This is like current Meg, who like, again, like totally out of character, loving this light that you're shining into the world and how you are right now. Tell us about that moment of realizing you were made for more.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, man. Yeah. I had lost, like I said, I had lost myself after I finished my PhD, because I had been a student my entire life. Like that, I had not even realized it. I had made that my identity for so long, because I went from preschool, like, and I don't know how old you are in preschool, what, like 4 years old or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
From preschool all the way through the PhD, there was no break. I went from preschool into kindergarten, all K through 12, right? to college, to my master's, to my PhD, there was no break. I graduated with my PhD at, technically I defended at 28 years old, but I walked when I was 29, right? So I finished my PhD before I was 30. So I'd never had a break with school. I went straight through. That had been a huge part of my identity. Like I was the kid who, couldn't sleep the night before school. I had picked out my outfit. I was just so giddy and so excited to go. So school and being a student had been a huge part of my identity for a really, really long time. And when I didn't have that, I felt very lost, very confused. But I was also, my first job technically out of the PhD was an adjunct professor. And just the long and the short of being an adjunct professor is you get treated like gum that was stepped in dirt and poop on the bottom of someone's shoe. Like that's how you get treated. You are extra. There are no benefits. You get paid per kid, per head, per class, with a cap on the money. Like again, no benefits, like the whole thing. And it's not it's not fun, right? It's not stable. It's not fun. And it's really, really hard. You walk around the university and you see all these people on more secure tenured lines or visiting assistant professors who have the benefits, who have all this stuff. And there's a, like a pompous hierarchical attitude, right? And I'm sorry that sounds like complaining, but like that's just what it is, right? And so everybody has offices and like I didn't, and I'd get yelled at for being in a place that I, quote unquote, wasn't supposed to be in. It's like, but where am I supposed to meet with my students? Like I have no office. Like what am I supposed to do? So it felt like you were a part of the university, but you definitely weren't a part of it, right? And that was really hard. That was really, really hard. And so dealing with that and then feeling like I had lost myself because I wasn't doing any of my own work, I was like, I just don't know what is going on, And I'm like, there was this huge like I don't even know how to call it, just like swell of emotion, like this rising up inside me that I'm like, I did not bust my ass for the last 7 years to get this PhD to just be an adjunct and get treated like shit. This is not what I thought it was going to be. And so I started to experiment with different things that I thought I was interested in. I was like, well, maybe I could be a blogger, maybe I could do something like that. Maybe that could be fulfilling, but I was still missing the learning component. So I registered for paralegal classes at our local community college back in Iowa. And so I had done that for a little bit. That was super fun, but I was like, nah, I'm just not feeling it. Like, this is super cool. Intellectually, I was interested. And I was like, this is not fueling my fire, my passion, right? So I started to get clarity by taking all that action, right? So I was like, well, blogging is so not, like, I'm not interested in doing that, right? And then I tried the paralegal classes, and that sense of passion was missing. So I was like, okay, if I'm missing the passion, then I got to try to find something that actually does make me happy, right? So I started working on a romance novel, and that made me super, super happy, and that was really cool. And so it was just this, honestly, like this process of like trial and error and just getting clarity with each thing that I tried. What do I like? What do I not like? And then really just trying to figure out where to go from there. And I had started listening to Keisha Get Mary's podcast, Empower Her, and just really being in a different environment, even though it was virtual, was so life-changing, right? Because academics, I don't want to say this of all academics, but they can be kind of negative people, so it was really important for me to see what was possible for my life by just getting a new vocabulary, a new mindset, a new way of thinking. And I was like, oh, there are so many more possibilities where academics see nothing but obstacles and negativity and problems. Like Keisha was this wonderful, beautiful light of opportunity and possibility. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. So I just went down that path. I ended up joining her virtual community, met so many different people, and just being in that energy really makes you like, not makes you sounds horrible, but it does. It makes you like want to dream bigger for yourself. And I was like, oh my gosh, all these feelings I have about being an adjunct and wanting more and can be more, and then being surrounded by dozens of women, hundreds of women who also want that, it's like, hell yeah. Like, you know, it gives you the courage and the confidence to be able to call your own shot. Like that environment is so crucial. And so I really started to take inventory of what do I like? What am I interested in? What am I passionate about? And I was like, I really want to do all these things, like write my own books, help other women write books, and start the publishing house. It came out of nowhere. And I was like, I didn't even know I wanted to do this, but cool. This is what we're going to do. And I just kept taking small step after small step and action, and just kind of continuing to follow my gut, follow that sense of enthusiasm and passion. And here we are.
I love that you specified trial and error.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think all the time, and especially like myself, like I hate being a beginner. Like I want to be great at everything, but we're not. Yeah. And the fact that you tried some things out and you took courses and you played around and you had fun with the process, it's like, yeah, that's exactly it. That's how you find your passion. And I love that it just like jumped out at you one day and you're just like, I didn't even know I wanted that. Huh.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. Like I wish I could probably dig back through some other journals and stuff to see where exactly that came from. But yeah, I was just like, why not? Like, screw it. Like, I want a publishing house. This would be so freaking cool. And yeah.
And also too, like the job that you just got, you don't even remember applying to it. Like, just put those into line for a second. Like, Meg's a hot mess over here. She doesn't even know.
I am. I'm a total hot mess over here.
It's working out. Like, you don't realize sometimes what your dreams are until you start playing with it and having fun. And I love that for you.
Yeah, because you don't know what you don't know, right? Yeah. Like if my 2019 self could see all the different things I've done and everything now, she'd be like, huh, like sweating and pooping her pants. She'd be like, that is not me. That is some robot that looks like me. There's no way that I could have done that, because I'm, have been a very like by the rules, by the books person, where you have to have all the answers before you can act. Like, nobody can see you fail. Don't be messy. Like those are belief systems I used to have. And through connecting with other women, seeing that it's possible to not have to be that way is really what helped me to get out of my own way and to do things, because you're not going to know until you try it out,
Yeah. And I like to like, you do show, like now personally knowing you, like you have shown your colors of that messy side, whereas an academic, I'm sure with a PhD, I would see that as a different level. Like, don't show that. And
you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to. Like there were conferences, just real fast. Like there were conferences I would go to, and if you didn't have an answer for something, it's like you could just see the snobbery, like just like wafting off of people, where it's like, she doesn't have her shit together. It's just like, no, I don't, because it's a work in progress. Like, go away.
None of us do. Not even you. Like, not even Snooty Man on the stage.
It's like, but that's not normalized, right? And so I think that's why I've leaned so hard into the mess, because it's just you just people don't show it.
Yeah. And it was fun to watch you like through the messy process of moving and like sharing, and you shared on social media too, sharing that side of you and just embracing the authentic side. I love that. And I love that about your story. And the fact that it just kind of spiraled into you having a freaking publishing company is like crazy to me. And I love that you're doing this for women. So can you tell us how you help women get started to write a freaking book, and how you build their confidence to see success through this process?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So the publishing house is called Power Within Her Publishing, right? And I just think that so many women have so many stories in them, but they just don't know how to start or where to start or what to do. So I really, really, I want to be a different publishing house in the sense that we are education based and, publishing based, right? So not a lot of publishing houses teach women how to write books. And so that's part of what it is that we do. So I have one course right now. I have not revised it yet. I still have like the beta version. And I'm still willing to like sell the initial beta version to anybody who wants to take it. But I had a beta course to teach women how to write books, and 5 women went through it, and they were all like, oh my gosh, so much great information here and all the things, right? So it just really helps you go from desire, right, to writing the first pages of your manuscript, right? So I have a bunch of different techniques and tools and information that helps you get started, right? To figure out who your book is for, what kind of book you even want to write, and so that's for nonfiction. So any like memoir or like self-help personal development type of book, like that's who that particular course is for. So we're very like education based. So there's that. And then, I also have different women who are like, I've actually written a book already, and now like here, what do I do with it? Right. And so I'm working with a woman right now. She is going to be the first novel we've ever published. It's an amazing novel. I absolutely love it. So I've been working with her to edit it. And it's going to hopefully come out here this spring sometime. And it's a young adult novel. It deals with so many different things. It's like kind of part romance, part mystery, like it's part coming of age story. It's absolutely incredible. So that's the other part of it. So we're kind of, Power Within Her Publishing is sort of split. So it's like the women who want to learn how to write a book, who have that desire, I funnel them into the course. And then women who already have a book, whatever the book it is, right? Whether it's a novel, a collection of poetry, a journal, like whatever it is, like, and they already have it exist, I funnel them straight into the publishing process, where I look at the manuscript, decide to take it or not take it, right? And then we go into the editing process, because the manuscript is just a manuscript. It's the first draft, right? So we have to like get it like polished up and like into shape and all that kind of stuff, really develop it, which is the part that I really, really enjoy of the publishing process. To really take a raw manuscript and whip it into shape. Like that part is so fulfilling and so enjoyable for me. So we do the editing, and then it gets revised, and then we put it into production, and it gets out into the world. And I feel like I lost track of your initial question, but
no, I'm over here just like in awe. I'm like, wow, like the fact that you just give women the resources, and I'm assuming it's for women only.
Yes.
Or
yep. Well, so that's a great question. So yes, I mean, I predominantly want to publish women, but the publishing company, I mean, it's all about like amplifying women's voices. So I mean, I am open to publishing any empowering book that a person wants to write, but with a particular preference for women, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and I love that you have something like that, a safe space for women to come to, because even though I don't have a book on my heart, I know if I did, I'd feel safe to come to you and to chat with you about it and just share my ideas. Whereas I've never felt that way in like with any other kind of big brand or publishing deal. So you just really help women feel great about their ideas and the process that it takes, and teaching them the process that it takes to write a book, which is so helpful. Like so helpful.
Yeah, it can be so unbelievably overwhelming. And I think that that's one of the reasons why I feel so fulfilled with the course and the publishing house, because I get to teach, I get to use my skills that I'm confident in to get to do what I do. So it just makes it so much better.
Yeah, living in alignment, girl. You were doing it. I also want to dive into your book and how you've helped so many people through the journaling practice. Can you tell us a bit about your book and the process it took for you to make it happen?
Yeah, I love that. So my book is called The Power Within Her Guide to Journaling, and it's unlike any other journal out there, because it's not a journal, it's a guide, right? Because I have this belief, I think that preset journals are beneficial. They are wonderful, but sometimes you're just not in the mood to follow somebody else's prompts, right? And then what happens when you get to the end of that person's journal? Like, it's done, right? You can either buy another one, but they'll be the same questions. You know what I mean? So I think those journals are amazing. I am not dissing or saying they're horrible or don't buy them. I think they're great. I really do. But what Guide to Journaling is all about is exactly what it sounds like, a guide to teach you how to journal. So it's sort of like a fun, upbeat manual on how to journal. And it's broken into 3 different parts. The first part is using personal development as a springboard to journal, right? So we can get more out of the empowering content we consume to be better versions of ourselves. The second part is my favorite chapter, that chapter is all about like individual methods that can help you journal. So it's not connected to any other content or anything. It's just like actual methods that you could just flip open your journal and like start going. So some examples of that would be like gratitude, intentions, open thoughts, open questions, like stuff like that. I just walk you through exactly like how to do it, and I give you tons of options. So it's not one of the biggest things that I really wanted to do with the book is to not make you feel like there's one way to do it. Like, here's your narrow step by step. And if you don't do it this way, you're doing it wrong. Like, I left so much open for each individual person, right? To be able to apply it. So, but that's what chapter 2 is all about, individual methods that you can journal. And then the last chapter is all about using journaling for ideas for content creators. And then like the book wraps up with what to do with all these journals once you have a bunch of journals, right? Just to see your growth and progression over time. So I'm really proud of the book. It was the best first book I could have written because women asked me for it. So one of the things I had done when I was feeling lost, feeling confused, trying to figure stuff out was to journal, and I would share what I was journaling about online with no expectations, nothing, right? I was just like, I just want to share, on the human design scale, I am a scale. It's not a scale. On the human design thing, whatever. Graph chart.
I don't know what it is either.
My God.
Maybe it's a
yeah,
scale,
whatever.
sure.
Yeah, whatever. But I'm a projector, right? And so one of my friends.
What team projectors?
Yeah, I know, right? So my friend Jen, who I met in Keisha's community, she described a projector to me as like a lighthouse, right? Like a projector is able to do what they do by being that guide and that light. And so one of the ways that projectors operate like is by sharing from a place of like love and goodness, right? And so I would share what I was journaling about, and I didn't even know about human design at this point when I was doing that, right? So it was just like this natural inclination. So I would share what I was journaling about, and then tons of women would slide into my DMs on Instagram and say, "Oh my gosh, I love that you journal, but I just don't know how to do it. I don't know where to start. These are the problems that happen when when I try to journal. These are the problems that pop up." And I was like, I sat there one day and I was like, I could solve all these problems. Holy shit. So I was like, let's do this. I'm going to create a guide to journaling. And so I thought at the time it would just be like a brief PDF that I would sell on my website or whatever, 60 pages, like, nah, no more than that. And it blew up into a whole ass, like 300-page book. And I'm super, super proud of it. And I'm obsessed with the cover, and I'm not even going to apologize for it. I think the cover is beautiful. I absolutely love it. And I'm just so proud of that book because I created it for women. Like, it was created in community, and it's one of the most fulfilling things I have written to date. And it was just really, really cool. So that's what the book is about. It's about teaching women how to journal and to have like a lifelong, sustainable practice that changes depending on the season of life that you're in.
Oh yeah. You make me want to like grab my book and start journaling right now. Like, that's how excited I am about it, and excited about your book. And it's absolutely incredible. And I'm just wondering, because we're all about confidence here, can you share with the sisters here how someone can access their confidence through a journaling practice?
Ooh, yes, absolutely. So I totally journaled about confidence stuff all throughout, it feels like forever. But yeah, off the top of my head, I feel like you could start by just doing like more of like an open exploration, right? Just open a journal, grab a pen or whatever it is that you like to write with, and just journal about what you're not confident about. Right. So I had done that before, where it's like, what am I not confident about? What's not working? What are my hangups? All of that kind of stuff. Right. And then really seeing what it is, and then seeking out resources, whether it's mindset coaches or programs or other books, whatever it is. And to then start working on that stuff, and then just journal about the content, what it is that you're learning, actually respond to the questions that podcasters or authors ask you, right? Because And I don't say that from a place of judgment, but I've been that person to skip those things, right? Where you're like, no, I just need to finish the book first. I don't want to like dive into the questions, but dive into the questions, answer the questions, take them seriously. And just keep a record of all of it, right? Because if I could go back to some of my other journals, they're packed away in a box right now somewhere. But if I went back and looked at it, like that's a record of my thoughts, of my feelings, of the process of gaining confidence, right? So it's just kind of cool to be able to look back at that and to see where you came from and now where you are. But just really, I mean, for me, journaling is a place where you can be so raw and so open and vulnerable, and you just can spill it all out there on the page, right? Even if they're ugly thoughts that you don't want other people to know about, right? Like you just put it all out there on the page, you see what's what, and you start to sort through it. Like I'm a very solutions driven type of person where it's like, get all the stuff out onto the page and then be like, okay, how can we work on this? What can we do? What are the next steps? And just continue to journal about that stuff, right? I also think when it comes to confidence, tracking our wins is super, super important. When I was in the thick of journaling a ton to grow, that was in, when was it? Like the fall of 2020, I was journaling all the time, all the time, pages and pages, because that's what I personally needed. And so I would journal a ton. I would get all of my thoughts out, and then I would, like problem solve it, write about it, try to fix things, and write about the results of that. Right. So like one of the things I would write about in my journal, this is not about confidence, but this is the only example coming to mind right now. I would write about how in the mornings I would check my email right away. And that was a huge trigger for me because tons of cranky emails were waiting for me. Right. And I was just like, oh, like it just sets the day off on the wrong foot. And then I was just like a not nice person throughout the day. And I'm like, okay, this is the problem. What can I do? And I'm like, oh, I could not check my email in the morning. Like I could do something else that's much more fulfilling, much more exciting. And so I started to do that. So like through journaling about it, it just made me feel really, really good. And then at the end of the week, I would stack all of the wins. So like part of like building confidence, right, is in stacking those wins and remembering all the ways that you're winning, right? So like one of the things I would write down, I would just challenge myself to write as many down as I could, where I was like, I went 5 days in a row. I didn't check my email once when I woke up. Didn't check it once. Like that was a huge win. And so I'd like look at this list of, 10, 15, 20 different things, like big or little, that happened throughout the week. And I was like, this feels so good. I love this. And like, it was just a natural confidence booster. So yeah, those are just a couple of ways I think that you could work with, or work on confidence, build that confidence through journaling.
I love how simple it can be, because I think a lot of us, when it comes to journaling, we overcomplicate it.
Oh yeah.
We're like, oh, I have to be an author, I have to be a writer, or I have to spend hours on this. And I love how simple you make it for people so that everyone can feel like they can journal. Like, literally anyone, just a pen and a paper, and they can go. And that feels really welcoming for me. And especially when it comes to confidence, because it can be scary, as we said, to be a beginner, and you just make that feel like a fun process, not a scary process. So I appreciate you so much for that. And with that, I'm so excited because in February, you're doing our Sisterhood workshop in our exclusive community for the sisters, where Meg's going to be doing some like confidence and self-love work with us through journaling and really helping us find that process that works for us, and it being individual for all of us. So if you are loving Meg like I love Meg, check out the Sisterhood. I'll put it all in the comments for you to be able to check out and get a part of the monthly membership. And that is, we said February 16th in the evening. I'm like, I wrote that down for a specific reason. February 16th in the evening. It's going to be on Zoom. So wherever you're logging in from, you'll be able to jump on with us and really dive into your journey and your confidence through journaling with our magic Meg, who has all the tools, which I love. Meg, thank you for all this stuff. Where can our listeners connect with you online, and what can they expect from your socials? Where can they find your book and your podcast?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. This has been so much fun, Jess. Thank you so much for having me. I just love you so much. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram. I love the virtual hug.
I gave her a little virtual hug. You can't see, but I was like hugging her.
You can find me on Instagram at dr.meggymarie, dr.meggyymarie. And then my podcast releases every Tuesday. It's called The Power Within Her. You can just find it on any kind of platform. And my book, so unfortunately, it is not available internationally, but if you really wanted a copy of it, I can order it and then send it to you and we can figure it out. But my book right now is only available at Barnes & Noble online. And I think I was told it doesn't ship internationally. So that is a bummer. But yeah.
But if someone was in the States, they could get it.
Yes, but if someone is in the United States, you could totally get it. Yep.
And for those in Canada, message Meg. She'll hook you up.
Yes, I will.
I love it.
I will,
and
for sure.
Yeah, it's incredible. You really need to check out Meg and all the stuff that she's offering. And I just love the work you're doing for women because as a projector, this can be a lot of work to put that effort in to be that lighthouse all the time. But like you're doing it and you're shining so bright and just watching you grow has been a gift. And I know I've only known you for a short period of time, but I love you so freaking much. And let's dive into the questions that I ask every guest that comes on the podcast. You ready?
Yeah, I am ready. I am excited.
Okay. What is your favorite compliment to receive?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So full disclosure, I did know these were coming and I'm really glad I did know they were coming because I'm not even going to lie to you. I struggled with that first question to think about that like a lot. But I think like I'm going to honor the first thing that did pop up for me when I did like think about it because it was a snowstorm of like nothing for a while. But I just really love to be told I'm doing a good job. Like a good job with whatever it is that I'm doing, like with the podcast, with my writing, with my teaching. I just really like to hear that I'm doing a good job or that a piece of content resonated with someone.
Yeah, and you are doing a good job. And I think that shines through everything you talked about today. And I'm not just saying that because I love you, but like you're doing a great job. And
thank you.
I think a lot of people are going to be sending you that message too as they hear your story this week. So what is your favorite thing to boost your mood when you're feeling grumpy?
Yes, I am a big fan of the walk, like the angry girl walk that turns into like a release of like, okay, I'm happy girl now, right? Love to just put on the shoes and just go take laps around the neighborhood. We're still figuring that out here in Arkansas. The lap is not as pretty or, like as cool as the one was that we had in Iowa, but we're figuring it out. But yeah, directly, like immediately, like put the shoes on, head out the door.
With your dog Banner, I'm assuming?
Yes, well, sometimes because he doesn't have a lot of chill. He just gets so excited about life that he can sometimes be not fun to walk with.
I get that.
He gets to go. He does get to go sometimes.
Yeah, I have a high energy dog too. I get it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you have a song or quote that boosts your confidence?
Yes. Oh my gosh. My husband is so sick of both of these songs. He could just just throw the phone out the window. I love to listen to I don't even know the person. It's like Joel Corey, I think his name is, the Head and Heart or Heart and Head. It's whatever that song. Love that song. And I also really, really love the song from Zootopia. Shakira sings it. It's the Try Everything.
Yes.
It's so good. It's so good. There were times toward the end of the semester when I was still teaching at the university where I just was so cranky and I'm like, oh, like I can't go walking because I got to go to class. I would blast that in my ears going to class. I'm like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Like it's going to be fine. So I love those two songs. And then my favorite quote of all time is by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But all I can hear right now in my head is Shakira and
yes,
like seriously, as soon as I'm like, I loved Zootopia. What a great movie.
Mm-hmm. Right? It's so good.
So good. I love it so much. Thank you so much, Meg, for sharing your truth and shining your light all over this podcast. I'm so grateful for you. And I can't wait for the workshop.
I know. I'm super excited for the workshop too. I'm going to give you so much insight into my book. It's going to be so great. I'm so excited. I love you, Jess. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Oh, you are so welcome, especially for our Canadians who might not be able to get the book. This is an awesome opportunity to really dive into it with Meg because I feel ya. I'm like really regretting not grabbing one when I saw you, but I guess I can get one when I see you in Denver. So
yes, exactly.
We'll be able to hook everybody up with some books there.
Yes. I'll even sign it for you.
Oh, so excited. Did you see that?
Yes.
I got so excited. I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Meg. You're the best.
Oh, thank you so much.
I am so grateful that we could connect today. If you enjoyed today's episode, share it with a friend or on your social media and tag me so I can personally thank you for helping me grow this community and get my message out there. And don't forget, you deserve to embrace your truth. It's time to live life your way.